Hey friend, welcome to the Badass is the New Black podcast, where our motto is done is better than perfect. I'm Chrissy Chin, here on a mission to help you grow your business online, turn your leads into lifelong customers, and scale to six figures and beyond so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more. Most importantly, I'm a laid-back wife, a mom, a friend who started as a peds nurse turned network marketer, and now a serial entrepreneur. This podcast is for ambitious people with an idea, a vision, but no idea how to get there. On this podcast, I'll give actionable steps to keep you moving forward while you learn new business strategies, better systems and processes, marketing, sales, all the things you need to build and scale a blissful business that keeps your pocketbooks growing. Grab a beverage, open up your notes app, and let's get to it. So excited to have Brad Bizjack back on the podcast. Brad has become a really great friend of mine, an awesome mentor, and he's helped me a ton in my business. Last time I had him on the podcast, everyone loved what he talked about and what we talked about together. In fact, I had a girl this weekend, true story, Brad, reach out to me on Instagram. And she said, I found your podcast. I listened to the episode with you and Brad, and I loved it. And it got me to start binge listening to your podcast. And I absolutely love it. So I thought that was super cool. If you guys missed that episode, you're going to get a bit more from Brad today. You can always go back and listen to that. But Brad is a mindset strategist, certified high performance coach, international inspirational speaker, a podcast host, a personal development expert. You guys, he's had almost a decade of coaching experience, coached thousands upon thousands of other entrepreneurs like you. And what I love about bringing Brad on here is that I can teach you guys all day long about the tech part, about how to implement the strategies, have better systems, have killer funnels to bring in your ideal customers and convert. But without this mindset piece and making that rock solid for you, you will not see the kind of success that you want in your business. So you really need both. You need what I teach and you need what Brad teaches and helps you with. And I 100% believe that, I've achieved the success that I've dreamt about and strived for because I have focused on my mindset and improving the way that I think. And so I'm going to let Brad share with you guys so that you can also focus on your mindset so you can have everything that you want to. So we're going to dive into what Brad calls the success GPS framework. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What's up, Brad?
What's up, Chrissy? Good to see you, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm better now that I'm here with you.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I love what you said about having the right strategies, but the wrong mindset. That'll kill any transformation. So I'm so excited to be able to serve in that way and just help out to maybe break through some limiting beliefs and some negative thinking patterns that slow people down. But I'm excited to talk about this framework because it's changed my life and I know it'll change all of your listeners' lives as well.
Yes. And we have something super special for you guys at the end. So stick around. This is not going to be a super, super long episode today, but we have a really special invitation for you. So you're not going to want to miss it. So stick around. So let's dive in. Let's get started.
Let's get started. So I love talking about this because it has to do with one of my favorite hobbies, and that's hiking. I am a massive hiking lover. Like, if you put me in a national park with some waterfalls and all that stuff, I'm like a kid on Christmas. It's amazing. And so every couple of years, my buddies and I go on a hiking trip. And we road trip from Chicago all the way out west, somewhere beautiful. And we do these really crazy hikes. Like we backpack the Grand Canyon rim to rim, do all that stuff, like really awesome hikes. And I was in the front seat driving. We rented a camper van. And this most recent one, I was talking to my buddy, Jim. And I was like, Jim, these road trips are a lot like success. He was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, if you're not excited about the destination, about the national park you're driving to, then you're not going to want to drive across the country to get there. And you ever have one of those moments, Chrissy, where there's like this download of information of like, I can talk about that. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. And it's like all of this stuff came together when I realized that achieving your biggest dreams is a lot like Google Maps. And what do I mean by that? Google Maps is one of the most powerful tools in driving from point A to point B.
Hey,
And what
wait a
most
minute. Is it Google Maps or is it Waze? Like, is it going to take us the
you
best route? Or
So
Google?
that's a fair point, my friend. I'm a Google Maps guy. I never really have gotten into Waze, but I've heard good things. So if you're a Waze person, then this can transfer to that as well.
Love it. I love it.
So let's say that I love hiking. I live in Chicago, and Yosemite National Park is like my favorite place on earth. It's like you're in Avatar and Jurassic Park at the same time. It's super cool. And so if I'm sitting there and I'm going to drive from Chicago to Yosemite, I need Google Maps to help me get there. And I plug in, this is the first piece of how Google Maps works. You need a destination, right? You need to type in a destination to your navigation resource, whether it's Waze or Google Maps. But here's the mistake that people make. What most people do is they set a destination based on the current amount of gas they have in the tank. And so if you think about your business, your goals, your dreams, most people will say, well, I don't know how to create a funnel. I don't know how to do all that stuff. So I'm just going to focus on this methodology instead. And they tone their dreams back. Instead of having this big, exciting vision of where they want to go, they tone their dreams back. The only way to actually create an amazing life is to have a compelling vision that you don't know how to get to. Because most people think they need to know the how, all the ins and outs before they get there. Well, success comes from good judgment. Good judgment comes from experience, and experience typically comes from bad judgment. And so what we need to do is we need to be okay not knowing how we're going to get somewhere and have our destination be so compelling, so exciting that we want to make a road trip across the country to get there, where we say, yes, I only have 300 miles left in my tank, but I'm going to trust that I can find a gas station along the way. And so I want to challenge everyone listening to ask yourself, is your current goal, is your current dream, is it based on what you currently think you're capable of? Or is it something that you don't know how to do yet? Because if it's something you currently think you're capable of, you're going to get driving 30 miles into this road trip. You're going to be like, well, what's the point? It's the same thing as taking, let's say I have 300 miles left in my gas tank. That's the range of how far my car can go, let's say. And it's the same thing as saying, okay, I can go 300 miles from Chicago. I'm going to put my GPS pin in a cornfield in the middle of Iowa. Now, if you think about it from sitting in Chicago, now, I personally love Yosemite and waterfalls and all this stuff. If you find Iowa to be the most beautiful thing in the world, that's cool. For me, it's waterfalls. If I'm sitting in my garage and I see a GPS pin taking me to somewhere that's not very beautiful and not super exciting, then I might get 20 miles into the trip and be like, what's the point in even doing this? And turn around, go back to everything I've ever known. And this is the first point of success GPS. It's that your destination needs to be so compelling that it requires you to fill up the tank multiple times, something that you don't know how to do, but it's so exciting that you're willing to go across the country to get there. So that's number one. Does that make sense, my friend?
100%. I can completely relate. And I say this a lot, that I definitely have been able to generate success because I'm like the end goal person and I have a big vision and I'm not scared of that, even though I don't know how the heck I'm going to get there. I say that all the time. Like, I have no idea how I'm going to get there, but I know as soon as I run out of gas or like don't know that next thing, I'm going to figure it out, right? I'm going to be a problem solver by nature and I'm going to learn how to do that funnel, or I'm going to learn how to do that next thing. So I love that kind of story and analogy to like leaning into having that big picture and knowing you're going to have to stop and fill up your gas, AKA maybe learn something new to get over to that next step, to take that next length in your journey, but you can do that. Right. And like, that's
Yes.
okay. So the question that I have quickly before we move on is, I feel like that came a little bit second nature to me. I think I've always kind of been a big dreamer, visionary person, but what about the person who doesn't feel that way and is in that spot that you're talking about right now, that is scared? Do you have the tools to help them to become that visionary person?
Absolutely. I think I see this all the time, right? Like, why would I set a goal that I don't know how to hit? Like, what if I don't get there? Or even better than that, why would I set a bigger goal if I haven't been able to hit my existing goals? And I have a couple thoughts on this. The first is the reason you haven't hit your existing goals is because they're not big. You don't have the motivation, the drive to actually make them happen. But to that person that says, well, what if I fail? What if this doesn't happen? My challenge to you, and we'll talk about this more at the end, there's an opportunity I have for you guys to figure this out in a deeper level. But to that person, what I'm hearing is that there is a feeling of attachment to the outcome, where you are basing your worth, your happiness, your character, who you are as a person on if or if not you achieve that goal. And so what that's going to cause you to do is to tone down those dreams to a realistic level. And if you tone down those dreams to a realistic level, well, then you're not going to have the motivation, the drive to hit them anyway. So then you create these stories. I'm not even capable to do that. So you need to let go of attachment. And what that means is, it's not that you should own nothing. It's that nothing should own you. Where your goals, your dreams, whether you hit them or not, that doesn't dictate your worthiness. You're worthy either way. Now it's about growing and becoming something more that you didn't realize that you could do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, love that.
Beautiful. So let's go on to number 2. The second piece of this, if you are wanting to drive from point A to point B, the second thing Waze or Google Maps needs, besides the destination, is that it needs your starting point. It needs to know where you are right now. And an honest, like true statement about your existing circumstances. But here's the challenge that most entrepreneurs make, or most entrepreneurs go through. Let's say they've created a huge dream. Let's say we bypass number 1 and we have this huge dream. What most people do is they create meanings and stories about their current reality that tells Google Maps they're actually further back than they are. They say, okay, I only have 10 customers, or I am a bad business owner, or I'm a terrible leader, right? Whatever their current circumstances are, they create a meaning about those circumstances, which alters their current view of reality. Because the lens that you see your circumstances with, that's the lens that you're creating success with. So if you look at your existing circumstances like, well, I'm terrible, or it's my fault, or this is because I don't know enough, or I'm a bad leader, then you're not going to actually be able to get to where you want to go, because Google Maps will think you're in a different location. What we need is an honest, objective view of your starting point. I have 10 clients, I have 1 funnel built, and I have this much monthly recurring revenue. Whatever your numbers are, wherever you actually are, you need to be honest with yourself about that. And it's neither good nor bad, it just is. Because if you either inflate or deflate where you are, then Google Maps is going to think you're in a different location. So let's say you create a story that you're a terrible business owner and no one wants to join you, and I don't know sales, and Chrissy has it easier and all this stuff. Well, then Google Maps is going to think you're in Buffalo, New York when you're in Chicago. And if Google Maps thinks you're in Buffalo, New York, you're further back than you actually are. It's going to chart a course from Buffalo, New York to Yosemite National Park. And so it's going to come up with this route and says, okay, turn left on Johnson Street. And you're going to be like, well, where the heck is Johnson Street? You're going to be driving around like crazy looking for it, overwhelmed and confused. It's going to be chaotic in your mind. And so what's going to happen is you're going to turn around and drive back to everything you've ever known, what you call home. That safe place, that comfort zone, that ego, that trap keeping you stuck. And this is what most people do. Or they inflate their story and tell themselves they're better off than they really are and pretend that they're in Denver when really they're in Chicago. And they end up getting totally screwed that way because they're not honest with the data that's going on in their business. And so if we want to succeed, yes, we need a compelling vision, but we also need an honest look about where we're actually at without meaning, without attachment, without story, so that we can chart the right course. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Love it.
Wonderful. So we get to number 3, and number 3 is the most important piece. They're all important, but this, in my opinion, is the most important piece. Let's say that you're the entrepreneur that's done this successfully so far. You have a wildly successful vision. You've upgraded it from, I'm going to go instead of what I'm currently capable of to something that I have no idea how to do so that I grow. And you set that amazing destination. And you're honest with yourself about your exact starting point without story. So now you have a destination and a starting point. The third piece of this is enjoying the journey. It's enjoying the road trip. Because if you do not enjoy the road trip, if you are not excited the whole way there, then you will be absolutely exhausted by the time you get to that national park and have no desire to hike to see any of the sights. And so what we need to do is take a look at how we are framing the experience along the way. Because as you start driving this route, there are going to be left turns, right turns, stop signs, speed bumps. Most entrepreneurs think it's 90 miles an hour straight the whole way there. It's not. There are going to be times in your journey when the speed limit's 20 miles an hour. And if you floor it through a 20 miles an hour school zone, you're going to kill a kid. And then there's times when the speed limit's 70. And if you're going 20, you're going to mess up traffic and get pulled over. So we need to honor the speed limit of where we are in our life right now. And then let's say that you start doing this. You accept that there's going to be stop signs and left turns and right turns and all this stuff. Well, then, and you honor the speed limits and all this stuff. Then let's say you start getting out of the city. Something interesting is going to happen. You're going to need to stop to pee. Now, what does that mean? That means that I see all the entrepreneurs do this all the time. They refuse to take a break. They refuse to get out of the car and stretch their legs. I need to get there now. I can't be happy until I get to Yosemite National Park. I need to. I can't stop. And true story, Chrissy, one time I was driving from Chicago to Dallas, Texas, and I bought a portable urinal. Because I didn't want to stop. I can't believe I'm saying this on a podcast, but because I didn't want to stop. And I peed into the portable urinal. And me, being the dumbass that I was at the time, decided to roll down the window and pour the pee out while I was going 8 miles an hour. And I peed all over my face. And so now that's a true story. But a lot of entrepreneurs notice that type of thing happening. They don't stop to pee. They don't take a break, and they don't stop to eat. They don't stop and nourish themselves. They don't take care of themselves. They get up super early, stay up super late. And because it's taught in society that you need to work yourself until you die in order to succeed. That's not true. And then, so we need to release these mindsets. And then along the way, you're going to notice that you're getting low on gas. Now, what does that mean? Your energy is a little bit low. Your motivation is a little bit low. So you need to get that coach. You need to go to that seminar. You need to get that success partner so that your gas tank fills up and you can keep on going. And let's say you do all of this. Then you're going to notice on this journey that there's different weather. Sometimes it's going to be raining, and it's safe to drive in the rain up to a certain point. But sometimes in your life, there's going to be a downpour. Let's say there's a loss of a loved one or something like that. That is your call as the entrepreneur. Do I pull over the car right now because it's safer to do that? Most entrepreneurs think, no, I just need to keep going. But there are times in your life when honoring the storms of your life are a beautiful thing. The blizzard, the rainstorm, whatever it is. So we need to honor the weather. Then there's going to be times in this journey where there's different topography, right? There's going to be times when you're going 70 miles an hour through a cornfield and you're crushing it. But then there's times when there's a mountain. And in order to go that same speed, you're going to need to slam down the accelerator just to maintain the same speed. But then you get to the other side and you don't even need to touch the accelerator to go faster. And then with all of this, there's going to be curveballs, things you weren't expecting, where there's going to be a construction zone out of nowhere and 4 lanes is going to narrow down into 1, where you thought you should be going fast right now, but all of a sudden you're going slow, and you have a choice in that moment. You can be pissed off that you're going slow, or you can play Taylor Swift. It's your call. It's whatever you want to do. You can be frustrated or enjoy the ride. And then you're going to get to a beautiful place in your journey where all of a sudden you'll be going the route you thought you should be going. And Google Maps will say, hey, there's a faster route available. And you have a choice in that moment. You can stay on the route of everything you've known up until now. You can keep going that same way. Or you can trust that Google knows all. And you can trust that intuition, that feeling, that vibration that says, hey, I should probably take this faster route. And let's say you do all this stuff. There's one more piece that matters more than all of that. And that's who's in the car with you. Because if you take this road trip, say you do all these things and you're actually stopping for gas and doing all this stuff, stopping for food, everything, and you're honoring the different speed zones and all that stuff, but the people in your car on a hiking road trip hate hiking, then you're going to want to turn around and go home. You're not going to want to go to that national park, because if you get there, they're just going to complain the whole time. And people say all the time, well, what about people that I can't leave behind? You drive there and then buy them a plane ticket to show them the beauty. That's how you do it. But if you do all of this really, really well, then something magical will happen. If you have successfully created a vision that's so compelling and so exciting that moves you to drive across the country, and you're honest about your starting point. Okay, I want to drive to Yosemite. I live in Chicago. And you're okay with the stop signs, the left turns, the speed bumps, the slow construction zones, stopping to pee, getting food, all of this stuff, knowing that sometimes it's safer to pull over the car, construction zones, changing routes, and you have amazing people in the car with you on this path to Yosemite National Park, then something magical happens. Because you get there, you get out of the car energized and excited and pumped up about all of these hikes and these waterfalls that you're going to see and do. And you finally get to the top of that summit and you look around at everything and you actually feel a sense of celebration and completion. Now, when you look at success from the perspective of, I need to get to that peak before I can celebrate or before I can enjoy my life, you never actually get there because you want to turn around. But when you do this successfully, you get there, you celebrate, you appreciate it, you love it, you're grateful for it, and you ask yourself, where will we go next? You realize what you're capable of. And then you realize that to do your next road trip from Yosemite to, let's say, Grand Canyon, you can probably do it in a faster car because of all the things you've learned along the way. That is success GPS. That is what people need to master if they're ever going to get from where they are to where they want to be. And most people, most entrepreneurs successfully do number one and maybe even do number two. But I see most entrepreneurs totally mess up number three. And that's why it feels like no matter what they achieve, it doesn't feel like enough. Yeah. This is how you feel like it's enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. And when you were talking about that, I thought of back in 2020, and I was running my first virtual summit, first and only at this point. There will be more, guys, I'm sure. But, resonating with having this drive to want to do everything and want to do it now and all of that, and needing to give yourself some space and take some time, because I was doing this virtual summit and then my dad passed away suddenly and it abrupted the whole thing. And I still had interviews I had to do with a couple people. Thankfully, I was doing this summit with someone else and they had kind of their people they were interviewing and I had mine, and I had a few interviews that I had left to do with my people. And so being the person with the mindset that isn't there, I would have pushed through and I would have said, I'm doing it. I'm pushing through. Like, I have to do this. It's not going to be good. I'm not going to get the attendance if I don't do my own interviews. And instead I let go. And I said, I can't do this. I have to be with my family. And Dustin took over and he did those interviews. And we ended up having 4,000 people attend that virtual summit. And people loved those two interviews that I didn't do, right? And I have the mindset, enough to think that, they liked them because I let the right person do them, right? And I let go.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. So there's that. And then I love that you brought up the piece of like having the right people in your car, because that makes a huge difference. And I've done life with really bad people in my car, and I have such great people in my car now, like you, every step of the way. Yes. Love it. We meet up once a month, and I just love that piece, and we talk in between. And so without the right people in your car, it makes a world of a difference on how far you can go and how you can withstand the journey to get there. So, and yeah, like not enjoying that journey, you're not going to go anywhere. So love all of that you said. Now I want to help everyone who's listening, who feels like, oh, I want to be there. I'm feeling like I'm not there and I want more help. So how can we help these people?
Yes, absolutely. Because this is an amazing framework. But if you're anything like the people that I work with regularly, there's probably a piece of you that says, okay, that's fine and dandy, but how the heck do I do it? How do I actually live in the state? How do I set a dream that's bigger than anything I've ever done when I'm so used to maybe toning those back because I'm afraid if I fail? Or how do I let go of these stories about where I'm at and actually be honest about my starting point? And how do I enjoy the ride when I'm not where I want to be yet? How do I actually enjoy this when maybe I don't have the time and the money yet? How do I actually do that? And so what I did was, over the last 10 years of working with people, I've recognized some patterns. patterns that help people to break through to the next level of success almost instantly, and patterns that keep people stuck and overwhelmed for years. And I've taken that 10 years of experience and I've put it into a free masterclass for you. And this masterclass is on March 2nd at 10 a.m. Central Time. It's called How to Accelerate Your Success Without Working More Hours. What most entrepreneurs are afraid of is, well, if I create a bigger vision, that means I'm gonna have to work more. No. I'm gonna show you how to succeed more and work less without adding more to your plate. It's gonna show you how do high performers achieve their goals so much faster than all their peers and not be so stressed all the time without adding a million extra things to their plate. So we cover three main things in this program. And in a nutshell, we show you how to do everything we talked about today on this podcast. But we're going to cover three main points. The first piece is what I call the success sweet spot. It's this idea of, how do I actually strive for more and appreciate the journey? Because most people think it's one or the other, and they'll say it's all about the journey and then be pissed off 5 minutes later about what's, a sale that didn't come through or whatever. It's how do we actually do that? How do we set these massive dreams and appreciate wherever we're at, where no matter where we are in the journey? There's a strategy and a methodology and a framework to that coming to life. I'm going to show you how to make that real. Then we're going to show you, Chrissy, you asked earlier about, what about the people that are afraid to fail? What about the people that are like, well, I'm afraid of taking this leap? The second big secret we're going to talk about is what I call anti-perfection. It's how you let go of this idea that your worth is somehow dictated by an outcome. Perfection guarantees pain no matter what you do in one of three ways. Number one, you won't start because you don't know how. You'll just read all the books in the world. It's like reading a book about swimming without getting in the pool. Or number two, you'll constantly avoid failure. And so you don't fully put yourself out there. And so instead of playing to win, you're playing not to lose. So you don't actually get the reward that you want. And number three is that no matter what you do, it won't feel like enough. You'll feel like your worth is a moving target. You'll bounce from peak to peak to peak going, where's the joy? Where's the love? Where's the fulfillment? There's a framework I created called anti-perfection that shows you how to break that and feel like you are enough no matter where you are in the journey, which allows you to set these bigger goals. And then we cover what I call the magnetic success formula. A lot of entrepreneurs say, well, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the support that I need from my spouse to create these incredible dreams. They might have the vision, but the people in their car are not helping them or supporting them to get there. Or maybe they feel like they don't have the money for a car that's going to make it across the country, or they don't have the time to make this road trip with all their current responsibilities. I'm going to show you how to manufacture those things. How do you actually build that before you have it? How do you develop that level of resourcefulness to create the time, money, and support you need to achieve those big, massive dreams? And then I'm going to take you through an anchoring process that you'll never forget, but I don't want to, that's a surprise. I'll leave that for the actual masterclass, but it's a game changer. It's Wednesday, March 2nd at 10 a.m. Central Time. It will change your life forever. It's changed thousands of lives over the last year. And Chrissy's got a special link for you guys to enroll.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing. I'm really excited to be there. Even if someone just gets one little nugget from that and not even from all three. Like, I just remember it changed the game for me when I realized that what was holding me back was this fear of not being enough. And that's so true. When that is one of your core fears, not being enough, every time you reach that goal that you want, even if it's something you wanted, I want to make 6 figures in my business. I want to sign up 5 new clients. Like, even if you get there, if you have this fear of not being enough, you're not going to be excited. It's not going to fulfill you. You're not going to find joy. And you're going to be like, okay, now I got to do the next thing. And then the next thing. And you're not even going to find happiness when you're $1 million earner. Mm-hmm. And so that one little thing that I learned when I was really, really working on my mindset in the beginning changed everything for me in my business, and like just the enjoyment of the entire process and being okay with, okay, the car is moving a little bit slower now, and like still really enjoying the slow movement. Right. And still looking forward to, can't wait till I get to that top of the hill and I'm coasting down. So, I mean, you guys are going to get solid, actionable steps with Brad in this masterclass or this webinar that he's going to do for you. And even if you get one little nugget, it can change the game for your business. But if you get 3 or 5, like, yeah, it's going to be a game changer. So I will be registering for it. And now that you guys are listening to this, you can register for this webinar. So I'll have already be registered by the time you listen. So I want you to go to the, what do we call it on the page? The podcast page. Show notes. Guys, what do we call it? The show notes. Probably how you got to this. Go to the show notes. Click on the link. We'll make sure it's like big and bold there, like sign up for Brad's webinar so you can come learn a whole lot more. And then I love it. Brad's dying in the background. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see us over here acting like fools, hanging out, having so much fun. If you want to come on a fun road trip with us to your own personalized destination, you come to the webinar. Okay. You come, you hang out with us. We're pretty good people. So if you want to come, if you want me to be sitting in your car as you're road tripping and you want Brad too, even though you might not know him until just now, trust me, you want him.
I'm pretty fun.
He's fun. You guys know that I wouldn't be hanging out with a super lame person. So yeah, so come join us. Use the link in the show notes. Right now it's all over everywhere, my social media, and you're going to be able to find your way there. So thank you, Brad, for this. This was amazing. I cannot wait for this webinar that you're going to teach. We're doing the 10-day challenge. So that's amazing. We're past that point where you can enter the challenge, but we still have the webinar for you. So jump in, whether you've done the challenge or not, we're here for you. Can't wait to see you guys there. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you got some value out of this episode, I would love some support. And the best way to do that, so I can keep showering you with loads of actionable tips, is to hit that subscribe button. Leave a review or a comment if you're on YouTube, and share this podcast with a friend. And when you share it with a friend on social, please tag me so I can reshare your share in my stories. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out. I appreciate the heck out of you for showing up. And now it's time for you to take imperfect action so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more.